Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday. For some reason, I almost said it's Saturday, but no. Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, November the 15th, 2020. It is currently 8:08 a.m. Central Time, and I'm here at Victory Baptist Church, where this morning at 11 a.m., we're going to actually have an in-person church service. So pray that goes well. It will obviously be live streamed, and that will be live streamed under the VBC podcast. So if you want to listen to us live this morning, there's lots of ways you can do that. If you need any information, email me at newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. All right, this morning, the first thing I'm going to do this morning is starting my lengthy Sunday live broadcasting, because I start here, a few minutes after 8, and then I'll be live broadcasting all the way up to church starting this morning, and then I'll go home, come back, and then be live broadcasting this afternoon. So I thought we would start this morning with what I hope will be, I think it's an interesting concept. I hope you think it is as well. Let me explain what happened at 5 a.m. this morning. At 5 a.m., I'll say it was between, if I can speak right this morning. Okay, we may need to start over, all right? I'm trying to wait before I get started, because I think I'm going to lose my voice. So let me take a drink of water really quick. There we go. All right. Now I think my voice is just not really strong this morning, so it probably should have waited about 30 minutes before I went live, but I didn't want to waste any time. So here we go. You know, when you get up in the morning and your voice is just not normal yet. Okay, so I started a little early this morning, so maybe I should have. But at between 4:30 a.m. and 5 a.m. this morning, I started listening to a sermon that was preached during the chapel service at a seminary. And the more they started, the longer the sermon went on, the more I really became really focused on this subject. And I just kept going, wow, this is really good. Okay, let me think about this. So I listened to kind of the direction the pastor went in his sermon during the chapel service. But by the time he got done, I kind of started detouring and going my own direction, and really just started trying to meditate on it, process it. So what I want to do this morning is bring you the concept, lay it before you, and hopefully it will spark some meditation and some discussion and thought, from you as well. So are you ready? Let's begin with some definitions. Let's start with the word authenticity. Authenticity. The dictionary defines authenticity as this: the quality of being authentic. Authenticity is the quality of being authentic. Okay, so that means we need to look up the word authentic. So let's look up the word authentic. Authentic is defined as of undisputed origin, genuine. All right, so authentic means it's genuine. You can have something that's fake, something that looks like the original item, but it's a copy, it's a fake. It's not authentic, all right? So authentic means, again, let me define it again, of undisputed origin, genuine. It's the genuine article, as someone may say. That's the genuine thing. That's genuine. That's real. That's of undisputed origin. So authenticate, let's go through this again. Authenticity is the quality of being authentic. Authentic is of undisputed origin or genuine. And authenticate is to prove or show something, especially a claim of an artistic work, to be true or genuine. So authenticate, it means to prove or show something to be true or genuine. All right, so let's go through all of these definitions one more time. Authenticity, the quality of being authentic. All right, so authenticity doesn't help us a lot, but you get the idea. Authenticity, it's the quality of being authentic. So authentic is the key word here. Authentic means of undisputed origin or genuine. right? So that's undisputed. That we know the origin of that. We know it's genuine. We know it's real. We know it's not a copy. We know it's not a counterfeit. We know it's not fake. We know that's the real thing. That's the genuine, authentic thing. But how can you determine that that's the authentic, genuine thing? Well, that's where this idea of to authenticate comes in. Authenticate means to prove or show to be true or genuine. All right, now, I want you to take all of those definitions, take all of those concepts, and I want you to really think about it this morning, and I want you to think about it in light of your Christian life. There's always a lot of discussion within Christianity of what an authentic Christian looks like. What is an authentic Christian? What proves that someone is a true, authentic Christian? How do you authenticate that someone's truly a Christian? And it's just crazy that at any time, Christians will throw out, nope, if you do that, you're not a Christian. That according to them, they put you through the process of, they put you through the process and tested, and that the results of their test, you're not authentic. That you did not pass their test, that you're not authentic, you're not of the genuine article, and you are to be rejected. You are a fraudulent Christian. You are a fake Christian. And everyone has their ideas. We've heard a lot of that in 2020, right? We've almost heard that, hey, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, then I'm sorry, you failed. You're not an authentic Christian. If you vote for Joe Biden, you're not an authentic, true Christian. If you decide that you don't want to vote at all and you're not going to participate in the political process, you're not a true Christian. If you say that people should wear a mask, you're not a true Christian. And I've even people go so far that if you decide you should wear a mask because of COVID-19, you've taken the mark of the beast. I mean, like crazy ideas. If you are a pastor and you say, you know what, I think we're going to suspend in-person services and we're going to try to come up with a better way to do things in order to keep people safe, then you'll be told you're not an authentic pastor. You shouldn't even be in the ministry. You should quit. And your church is not an authentic church. You're a fraudulent church because you're going along with that. You should leave your church. And if you don't leave that kind of church, you're not an authentic Christian. I mean, you hear it just all the time. I remember back in the 1980s and in the 1990s, especially when just during that time, there was a lot of arguing over music. Basically, you're not a true Christian if you listen to secular music. You're not a true Christian if you listen to contemporary Christian music. We can't authenticate that you're truly a Christian. You're not genuine because you're listening to worldly music and you're ungodly. It seems like there's always this attempt for someone to tell you what an authentic Christian life is and what an authentic Christian life isn't. And it seems everyone has their opinion. Everyone thinks that they know. And it's just crazy the way that works. So what is an authentic Christian life? What is it? Sometimes people will give you a test. Here's the 10 steps. 10 questions to ask, 10 things to look for, 11, 12, 14, whatever the test may be, and you've got to pass that test. They give you the test, and if you don't do this, if you don't do this, if you do this, if you don't do this, you're not a Christian. That's their test to test your authenticity, and they're going to put you through a process to determine how authentic you really are. And it's just crazy when you look at the test. You're like, well, wait a minute. If we take this test, I don't know if anyone can pass this test. I don't know if anyone would truly be a Christian. So what is and how do you authenticate if someone's truly a Christian? What is a true authentic Christian life? And who gets to determine that? Now, when I heard this concept being thrown out in this chapel service at this seminary, my mind went really in a couple of different directions, all right? So I'm going to throw a couple of thoughts out there, and then we're going to look at some scriptures, okay? So here are two ways I started thinking about it this morning. And I've been thinking about it all the way up until I hit the big red go live button, all right? Here's two ways I've been looking at this. I wonder in your Christian life and my Christian life, how often we live out a Christian life in front of people that's truly not authentic. In other words, we learn that this is what a Christian is supposed to say. This is the words Christians are supposed to speak. This is how Christians are supposed to think. This is what Christians are supposed to do. And we want to be a good testimony to people, right? We want to be a good witness to people. And we want people to believe, we want people to have a good testimony of what a Christian is. We want them to have a good understanding of who Jesus Christ is. And so we almost create, I hate to say this, we almost create a Christian character. We play a Christian character. It's like going on stage, right? Okay, hey, in this play, you're going to be a Christian. So here is how you're going to dress, and here's how you're going to talk, and here's going to act, because your character in this play is a committed Christian. So you've got to act like one. I think in some cases when we get to work or we get around people, we know how to play up the quote-unquote Christianese, the Christian act. But I wonder, when we do that, are we really letting people see an authentic Christian life, or are we allowing them to see a caricature, kind of a character of what we think a Christian should be? And does that actually keep them from seeing the authentic, genuine article? In other words, we're really giving them a counterfeit. And what we're doing, but our motives are good, right? We want them to have a good impression of what a Christian is. So we act a certain way. But I wonder if by doing that, we really hide what an authentic Christian life should look like. Because I think a lot of people think the way I demonstrate to the world that I'm an authentic Christian is by making sure they know I don't talk this way, I don't do these things, I condemn these things. Like I think we really limit, like we're going to demonstrate to these people what a Christian life is, and it's going to be based off what we don't do, what we do. We're going to make sure they know we go to church. We're going to make sure they know we read the Bible. We're going to make sure they know that we don't get drunk, that we think, sexual immorality is wrong, that we're against, homosexuality, whatever the case may be. It's really about what we do and don't do. And we like that. That's going to prove to them what an authentic Christian life is. And I wonder if by doing that, we give the world almost a wrong impression that they think authentic Christianity is simply a system of morality. That they think, hey, the way that Christianity is just a system of do's and don'ts. Of you can't do this, you can't do that, you can do this, you can't do that. And that's what being a Christian is. Being a Christian is you now walk around saying you don't do that, I don't do that, I don't do that, I can't do that, but I can do this. I wonder if the world, that's their impression of Christianity. And I wonder if that's not letting them see the authentic, genuine article. When I was a young Christian, that's what that's kind of the impression I was given. Maybe it was my own mistake and my own misunderstanding, but I kind of felt like that. Okay, now I became a Christian as a teenager. Now I need to go to school and let everyone know I don't drink anymore. I don't do drugs anymore. Premarital sex is wrong. Blah, blah, blah. I don't do this. I don't do that. That kind of music is wrong. And like it was all of these rules of do's and don'ts. And I had to really demonstrate that, hey, I'm not like you. I'm different than you. And that difference is what made me an authentic Christian. I wonder if that is a wrong way of thinking. I wonder if the Bible really, I wonder if we really don't demonstrate the authentic thing, that being authentic and being genuine and being real. I think that maybe we're afraid that will actually hurt. I think if we were honest with ourselves, and like if we were very open and honest and genuine in front of people, I wonder if we feel that would hurt Christianity. That like I can't let people see the real me, so I got to give them the character, the Christian character that I'm performing like in a play. So that's one way of thinking I started having. And the other way of thinking is, I wonder if as Christians and as the church, I wonder if sometimes we really just mess up this whole idea of how to authenticate if someone's a Christian. We come up with our list, we come up with our rules, we come up saying this is what a Christian is, this is what a Christian isn't. And I wonder if we missed the point that we're not even giving people, we're giving people almost that we are demonstrating to people almost a wrong way of attesting what the genuine article is. So I wonder on one hand, if we give people a false impression by not giving people an authentic view of what Christianity is. And then on the other hand, I wonder if we create these kind of just really weird tests of what Christianity is and isn't. So those are kind of two different paths. I don't know if you can see the difference, but let me try to explain them again. First thought, am I truly living an authentic Christian life in front of people, or am I living I'm playing a character because this is what I think they need to see? But I'm not really being authentic. I'm not really being genuine. I'm not really being real in front of them. And then I wonder, as Christians and as the church, that we constantly come up with, no, you're not a Christian unless you do this, this, and this. We almost come up with this, a weird way to authenticate it, maybe a fraudulent way. Maybe we come up with things that are not even biblical. Again, we've witnessed it in 2020. How can you tell people they're not really a Christian if they decide to wear a mask? How can you tell a pastor in a church you're not really a church because you've decided to postpone live service or in-person services because of a pandemic? Like, where do you get that in Scripture? Where is that the test? Where is that the test to authenticate whether something is genuine or not? It's like we just come up with these arbitrary rules and say, here are the rules. You do this or you're not a Christian. Lordship salvation, we've talked about that a number of times. We'll give you that 10-point test, 10-question test, 11-question test, and you better do these. And if you're not genuinely a Christian. According to whom? Whoever wrote the test? Here's MacArthur's test. Here's Jonathan Edwards' test. You've got to follow if you don't meet their requirements, you're not a Christian. And I think that that's sometimes really odd. So those are two different paths I have been thinking about. Then I started thinking that obviously Christianity would clearly, the Bible, I think, would really present, there's no question, a challenge about what is a false teacher, right? We are told to beware of false prophets. If you go to Matthew chapter 7, passage that's everyone knows the first part there about judge not that ye be not judged. Everyone knows that part. But in this very chapter, in this same chapter of Matthew chapter 7, we're told in verse 15, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. And so we're at this idea of beware of false prophets, beware of false teachers. So clearly in the Bible, there is a test to test authentic teachers from false teachers, right? And to know them. And we could talk about by their fruit you would know them. We could talk about what that means. But there is a test. I think we can all agree on this. There would be a doctrinal theological test, right? Here's true doctrine. If you deviate from that doctrine, then you are a false teacher or you are a false prophet. So there would be a doctrinal test to test if something is authentic. So I think we can say, without any hesitation, that authentic Christianity would be judged by what it teaches, by what it professes, by what it believes. That if you are a true Christian, the authenticity of that Christianity will be first and foremost, and probably one of the best ways to test it is, what do you believe about Jesus Christ? What do you believe about salvation? Not what do you believe about wearing a mask, not what do you believe politically, but what do you believe about Jesus Christ? Do you believe he's the eternal Son of God, sent by the Father, came to this earth, lived a perfect life, kept the law, died as a substitutionary sacrifice for you, was buried, rose again, ascended to the right hand of the Father, from which he is coming to judge the living and the dead? And do you believe that your salvation is based on his finished work alone, and that you're trusting in him, and that by trusting in him, his righteousness is imputed to your account? I mean, I'm just going through some of the basics, right? I'm just summarizing here. Is that not the way we authenticate true Christianity? So we almost have reached a point like, okay, you believe all of that, but you didn't, you listen to this kind of music, or you did this, or you're not truly a Christian. So is the way we authenticate someone's Christianity first and foremost based off what they believe about Jesus Christ and salvation? Is Christianity an individual who is trusting in Jesus Christ and his finished work for their salvation? Is that what a Christian is? Or is a Christian someone who is trusted in the finished work of Jesus Christ and does A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z? And if they fell in any of those areas, then we can call their Christianity into question. Is Christianity first and foremost about an individual? The authentic Christianity is an individual who acknowledges they're a sinner and their only hope is in the finished work of Jesus Christ, and that's what they're clinging to, and that's what they're trusting in alone. Is that Christianity? Is that the test of authentic Christianity? I think we get very confused here. I think we get very confused. So what do I need to demonstrate to people to show authentic Christianity? I think I need to show them that I'm an individual who is a sinner, and I don't think we should hide the fact that we're sinners. I think that we need to let the world know that, look, we're not perfect. We are sinners. We sin in 100 different ways. The difference is we are trusting in Jesus Christ for our salvation. We're trusting in him for the forgiveness of our sins because we can't do it ourselves. I think the world thinks authentic Christianity is a system of morality when I think the reality is Christianity is a situation where we are trusting in someone else to save us from our immorality. I think that I don't know if the world really knows what authentic Christianity is, and I think it's because we've messed it up. So I think there's one way to test genuineness of Christianity, and I think it's a theological test, is what do you believe? What do you believe? I think that's very important. All right. I'm getting notifications on my iPad. Have to look and see what people are telling me. They're probably telling me you're an idiot and you don't know what to, okay. Who knows? All right. But, yeah, I think that's one thing I was thinking. All right. Then, all right, I want you to consider a number of scriptures. Let's go to 1 John chapter 4. Let's go to 1 John chapter 4. 1 John chapter 4. 1 John chapter 4, and let's start in verse 7. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Now that seems pretty clear. I think that seems pretty clear. Let's look at another scripture. Let's see. I know it's in the Gospel of John. Let me see if I can find it here. Go to John chapter 13. The Gospel of John chapter 13. Start in verse 34. John chapter 13, verse 34, Jesus speaking, a new commandment that I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this, by what? By loving one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love one to another. Is love for one another, is love for people, love for our enemies, love for one another, is the reality of having a love for people one of the key elements of testing the authenticity of and how authentic one's Christian life is. We tend to say the way we authenticate someone's Christianity is by their morality. But is it possible that the Bible emphasizes not one's morality, but one's love for one another? Now, I'm not saying that, as long as you love people, you should live your life any way you want and engage in all forms of immorality. I'm not saying that, because the Bible condemns those things and tells us to flee these things and to put off these things. Yes, sometimes people have this either or. You emphasize love and you don't care about anyone's godliness. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Bible seems to say that one of the ways you truly authenticate someone's Christianity is by them having a love. By your love, that's how the world are going to know we're his disciples. Do we really see a love for one another? Do we really see it? A lot of the debate in 2020 is if you say, you know what, I think we need to wear a mask, and I think we need to possibly suspend in-person services to demonstrate not only love for one another, but to demonstrate love for our neighbor, love for our enemy. And people say, no, what you need to do is the way you know you're a Christian is by you not forsaking the assembly of one another. The Bible talks about not forsaking the assembly, and if you cancel services, you're forsaking the assembly, then you're not a Christian. So which one is more important, showing love or demonstrating faithfulness in church attendance? Is the way the world knows we're Christians is by our faithfulness in church attendance or showing love for one another? It just seems like everyone just runs and grabs the passage of Scripture that they think proves their point. And again, I've talked so much about the not forsaking the assembly. People cancel church services for all kinds of things, but now if you cancel it for a pandemic, you're a heretic. Well, which is it? Well, I think we have to take both into account. Obviously, we don't want to forsake the assembly, and we need to be consistent with that, not just during a pandemic, but outside of a pandemic. But at the same time, we're told to love people. Is it possible that one of the key ways to demonstrate, is it possible that one of the ways to truly authenticate someone's Christianity is their belief, what they believe, and then their love? What they believe and their love. Now, the Bible also talks about loving God, so we could say that our belief, what we believe in Jesus Christ, our trusting in Jesus Christ, that belief, that really defines what being a Christian is. That authenticates it. Secondly, our love for others. Could we say third, a love for God? A love for God. Now, you can love God and sometimes fall very short of serving him and honoring him and glorifying him and obeying him. Again, we talk about it. We've talked about it numerous times. David is considered a man after God's own heart, but yet he failed him miserably. Peter would tell Jesus, yes, Lord, I love you, but he also was the one who denied him. He loved him, but he denied him because we don't ever do anything perfectly. That's why we trust in Jesus Christ. So an authentic Christian is someone who trusts in Jesus Christ, someone who attempts to love God and to love others, but we acknowledge in a very real way to people that we fall short of that. Again, I think sometimes we just think the only way the world knows that we're Christians is because we're opposed to homosexuality, LGBTQ, we're opposed to abortion, and like they just know us for all of the do's and the don'ts. And I think sometimes that doesn't give them a view of authentic Christianity. It warps it. One other passage. One other passage. I'm going to read this from the NIV because I think it'll give you kind of an idea of what's going on here. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7. 1 Peter, we'll go back to verse 6 for context. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 6. And all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief and all kinds of trials. These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes, even though refined by fire, may result in praise and glory and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Let me read that again. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7. These trials, these difficulties, these have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes, even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor, or when Jesus Christ is revealed. Now, what that seems to be indicating is that somehow trials and difficulties can reveal the genuineness of our faith. Is another way to demonstrate the authenticity of our faith is how we respond to trials. Now, we don't respond perfectly, but how do we respond to trials? We respond believing that God is in control and God has a purpose in it, and we continue to trust in God. We still may get upset. We still may, look, Job said some very, very serious words in the midst of his trial, but he kept trusting God. He at times wanted to die. At times he wished he was never born. He said some very difficult words that some people would have condemned him for. But in the midst of his struggle, he was real with his struggle. See, I think that's what I think authenticity, to be genuine, is we have to be genuine. I think we've always been taught, and again, I was so taught this as a young Christian, that, hey, before lost people, you've got to, you cover up a lot of the bad things, and you just want the world to see how perfect you supposedly are. And then they'll see, oh, look at them. Okay, look at how different they are. And then they'll want to become a Christian. I think maybe that gives us the wrong way of going about it, because we're not being real. We're not being genuine. I think they need to see genuine people who are genuinely honest with their failures and their mistakes and their struggles, but genuinely believe in Christ, that we genuinely have a doctrinal belief system, that we believe in who Jesus Christ is and we're trusting in him, that we genuinely strive to love others, even when that goes against us, like loving our enemy, and that somehow, no matter how bad things get, we continue to trust in God. Those passages seem to speak more of what demonstrates the authentic Christian. How is the world going to know that we're his disciples? Jesus doesn't say by our morality, but by our love. Now, you could say our loving people is a form of morality, and I understand that. But I'm trying to distinguish it from the fact that we just come up with a code. Like when I was an independent fundamental Baptist in Papillion, Nebraska, when I attended a church there, you would have thought that the way the authentic Christian is the one who doesn't go to movie theaters, who doesn't listen to no contemporary Christian music, no secular music. You only listen to hymns or Southern gospel. For some reason, that was godly. It's really weird, very arbitrary. But you didn't go to a movie theater. Now, you could go to Blockbuster and rent all the movies you want, but you didn't go to a movie theater. You didn't play cards. Your hair didn't touch the collar, because you couldn't have long hair, because that would prove you're not a Christian. If you're a woman, you definitely did not wear pants, because that would prove you're not a Christian. And I can't remember all the other rules. There was a list of rules, and that proved the authentic Christianity. And you didn't want the world to see anything different, because if you didn't do these things and let the world see these things, then you were showing the world that you were worldly, and you were hurting your testimony, and they wouldn't understand what Christianity was. And I'm like, what is authentic Christianity? Now, I love the fact that this was being done during a chapel service in a seminary, trying to teach these people, hey, it was actually a Bible college/seminary, because I think that the school has other degrees other than theological degrees. So maybe it's a Christian college/seminary. I don't know. But the bottom line is there was a lot of people in that chapel service who obviously profess to be Christians. That's probably why they go to that school. And I think it's very important for all of us to stop and go, what is authentic Christianity? I think authentic Christianity clearly has to have a theological belief system attached to it, first and foremost. You got to believe the right things. And then I think there is an aspect where love is the key. Because look, all kinds of religions have moral codes. Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Muslims, they have a moral code, sometimes very strict moral codes. So it can't be just morality that does it. It can't just be morality. It's got to be more than that. But love goes beyond a more, because love is you're loving people, you're loving your enemy. That seems to be what Jesus points to. And in the way we respond to trials, I just think it's something we really need to think about. When you view your Christian life, how authentic is it? How genuine is your Christian life? How do people who know you, what do they see? Now, again, when I was a young Christian, I would think that they got to basically see moral perfection. And at the minute they see moral imperfection, then I messed up. Now, I'm not saying we should run around and broadcast all of our sin, but I just think that they need to realize that we're not claiming to be perfect. And I think this is the thing that he really brought up in the sermon. He wanted those young people at that college, he wanted them to look at their lives to ask themselves, is their Christian life truly authentic? Do they truly have a truly authentic Christian life, or are they simply living a Christian life because of their mom or dad or whatever the case may be? Which is a powerful question we all have to ask ourselves. Are we following Christianity because of it's just a part of our culture, it's part of our upbringing, or is there anything genuine to it? Authenticity. That's the word I want to start this morning off with. I just want to just throw that out there. I want to hand that to you, and I want you to think about it. I apologize for the rough start this morning. I apologize. That was a bad, when you go live and you start off like, okay, I think I'm going to lose my voice, and yeah, everything goes really bad at the beginning. That's always bad, but I think we made it through it, and I hopefully I've given you something to think about. Authenticity. Authentic Christian life. I really want you to just take that concept, bounce it around. Email me your thoughts. Look, I throw these things out there to spark a conversation. And if the conversation doesn't start, then my attempt fails, right? I'm there giving it to you because sometimes when you throw things back at me, I'll be like, oh, wow, okay, that's a really good point, or that's a really good point, or well, that's a really good point. And it can further the conversation, further the discussion. I like you not to be a passive listener, but an active learner. All right, I want you active and thinking and struggling and trying to figure it out. I just think that we really need to talk about authenticity, the authentic Christian life. How authentic am I? And I think I look. The Bible makes it very. I mean, the Apostle Paul to me is a very good example. Hey, the things I want to do, I don't do, and the things I don't want to do, I do, right? And he broadcasted that. So clearly the authentic Christian life cannot be just one of moral perfection because we would never reach it. So why try to convince everyone that we're so morally perfect by making sure they know the things that we condemn? Hey, I'm against that, I'm against that, I'm against that. That's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. We don't do this, we don't do that. That's the way I think sometimes we live our Christian life. And I don't think that's giving the world an authentic view. And then guess what happens? When then Christians fall into sin, right? We mess up here and we mess up there. They're like, see, Christians are hypocrites. Well, we're hypocrites because they know what they need to, and I've always been blown away by that because, wait a minute, how can we be hypocrites when Christians are the ones who acknowledge right from the very start that we are totally depraved sinners and that we cannot live up to God's morality? How can I be accused of hypocrisy when the very basis of my entire faith is me professing that I'm a sinner and that I can't keep God's law and I need to trust in someone else who kept it for me and I'm trusting in his righteousness that's imputed to my account? How can I be a hypocrite to that? If I fall short, I'm literally living out what I profess, that I'm a sinner and I can't keep God's law. But somehow the world doesn't hear that part because I think all they hear from us is we're against this and we're against that and that's wrong and that's wrong and that's wrong and you're pathetic and you're perverts and you're disgusting and you're ungodly. That's all they hear. I don't think they ever, for some reason, they don't hear we are sinners. We can't keep God's law. We fall short every single day. We are trusting in our righteousness that is not our own for our salvation. We are not saved because we're more righteous. We're saved because we are perfectly righteous. But listen, it's not our righteousness. It's a righteousness given to us by Christ that was imputed to our account. That's what we're trusting in. How could you ever be accused of hypocrisy if the world understood that? But I think that we've been sold this idea that we've got to give the world here's the Christian character you have to play. You've got to play this part. And I think we got to stop playing that part. Tell me what you think. newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. All right, everyone, have a great day. God bless.